There's days when I'm excited about the progress and the potential to make a lasting difference. And there's days when I wonder, what are we trying to do, and have we bitten off something that's just not possible? But then I look at the kids. I look at the kids that we know, the kids who have dreams, the kids that have talents, the kids that are artists, the kids that are budding entrepreneurs, the kids that are, have athletic potential. And then to be honest, I look at Andre and the fact that, he raised the funds to buy this place, to fix it up. They figured out how to grow it from 1 child to 108, and a staff of 40. And I know of a handful of the just crazy difficulties and problems and challenges and lawsuits and just all sorts of things that have happened to him over 20 years. And the man's never made a penny from this. And I have a sense of the price he has paid with his business, with his family, with his time, with his stress level for 20 years. Once you get to talk to them, you realize just how much damage is there. All of the kids, they would not be here if they didn't have very, very difficult lives. The fact that they're orphans makes it just that much harder. They've been dealt a difficult life and now they live in an orphanage where they're safe. But out in the world, they're orphans. They're treated differently. The children treat them differently. Children can be very, very, very brutal, right? That's just, kids are like that everywhere. They have the potential for that everywhere, but they go to school, they're treated like orphans. They don't dress quite the same. They don't look the same. They don't act the same. They ride the bus from Care Village. They're everything about their lives is stacked against them. It's hard enough being 12, 13 years old, but then being an orphan with that kind of background and that kind of baggage in this world is just really hard.
I had challenges from my friends, my community, who said, we don't want you to do this because you're going to flood the town and the schools with AIDS orphans. So it wasn't always the popular thing to do. But what I did know is I had a list of 500 traumatized, abused, neglected children from social workers in the area who were desperate to place them here. You can't leave children on the streets and leave them hungry, knowing that there's a place where you can help them, even if the help is limited. And it was extremely difficult to find people, and we didn't have money. So we needed people who were prepared to do it pretty much as volunteers. We've had at least 3 occasions now. We've had to terminate the services of managers who haven't had the children's interest at heart.
This is a very complicated environment to do anything in. Trying to explain it to Americans, I describe it like trying to walk in quicksand. We're starting our quarterly meeting. Oh, the power's out. Okay, where's the generator? Okay, well, we got the generator running. Okay, well, now we need a power cord. And yep, this is Africa. Things just don't, you just have to assume things are not going to work as smoothly as we expect as Americans.
In the beginning, the first 3 years, we were on our own. We had to survive. We had to make do with what we could do, with whatever funds we could raise, and with the charity of our community. There were times when we had no money. The donations had dried up. And I'd pick up the phone to my friend Sandy at Extrata and I'd say, "Ooh, we got a spot of bother." And Sandy would say, "How big?" I'd say, we can't pay salaries, we don't have money for food. And he'd say, we're transferring 900,000 rand, so you'll be okay for the next 3 months. There were times that we had no food. You won't believe what happened. There's a farmer who stopped here with a load of everything we need for the next month. Vegetables, meat, fruit. And it always came when we needed it.
But it didn't fundamentally change that outcome. They still reached 18 and they still went back to the life they came from. And suddenly I realized that this was an organizational issue, this was a vision issue, right? This was a focus issue, and that the only hope we had of making any sustainable impact on the kids' lives was changing the organization.
I really believe these guys, they are absolutely working to change the world, to change the future of these kids, and it's incredible to watch. I'm able to take something that comes really naturally to me, working with leadership teams, challenging them to, think big, and being here and being able to help them implement EOS they're always thanking me for helping them, and I feel like it should be the other way around.
I believe that we've already decided what we want because of EOS. We've decided what we need because of EOS, and it's focused our attention quite clearly. We're a non-profit organization, we know we don't have funds. But what EOS has done is it's helped us to identify what needs to be done firstly, and what our real end goal is. And we will achieve it.
Their progress with EOS has been noticed by other people, which is really heartening to see when you hear other people in the community getting excited about it. And the team over at St. Peter, because they're almost like a sister school to the Orphanage, it was really about a year, I think, since they started learning about EOS. I planted a bit of a seed last year and really fell in love with EOS. And Muzi took a little more time to sit down and read it, but once he got a chance to dive in, it was something that he was pretty excited about.
For me, it was a matter of finding a point that we do need this. We do need a point of being able to reflect. And as we grow, this will help guide our growth in moving us forward. And that is why I reached out to Catherine and EOS in being able to find a guiding step and a helping way of us moving forward. My name is Muzi Kumalo, and I serve as one of the directors at St. Peter Christian College. It will definitely help us build. It will help us reignite. It will help us revisit why we're doing this, for what reasons, where we want to see ourselves, and of course build a lasting, shall I call it, legacy of how we do things, that even beyond our lifetime, there's an imprint or a blueprint of how to do things, where we want to go, and be able to carry that forward beyond our lifetime. I can't wait to just move forward with all of what we are going to experience through the EOS system, and really exciting, very exciting for me.
And I'm a little bit selfish in saying that I want to reach this goal of financial independence, because that will allow me the freedom to say, I've now done it. Now these children should be okay, and I can hand over the baton.
Yes, it sometimes gets tiring, challenging, but invigorated every day and seeing the small impact that we can make in the children's lives. And that is what keeps you getting up every morning and coming back to want to do it again and again and again.
I don't really feel like I have the right to give up. That to me feels very selfish. Just because it's hard, just because it's frustrating, just because I don't know what we need to do next, that's nothing. That's nothing compared to what Andre's dealt with for 20 years for these kids.
I mean, what keeps me going is these kids. Just wanting to help them and support them. They've got so much joy and so much passion, and I want to be able to make it possible for organizations like to be able to do this in some sort of scalable way. That organizations who want to run on EOS should be able to run on EOS, and I'm hopeful that that's somewhere on our not too far distant horizon.
We're also trying to help their kids and their grandkids and on down the line, and we'll never know really what happened and what the results were. I've seen the ripple effects of small actions, seemingly simple actions, and then watching the effect over decades.
For many of these children, we're that beacon of faith, we're that sense of hope, and we're that only show of love that they may ever get to see. And that's what we want to carry forward, and that for me is engraved on my heart. That we want to move that forward, we want to carry that in every way possible and continue to be that message of hope, that message of faith, and that show of love in each day.
I want them to be able to dream, and I want them to be able to look after themselves, have families, and be able to look after those families. And I would never have remained involved on the basis that we simply say there's no future for these children. There must be one.